This is a snippet from the Saccharin Valley Twits, The Twins and Their Rock Star Witch Babysitter by Esther Rayon. Stephen found his voice. How long are you staying? In Saccharin Valley, I mean. He really, really wanted to leave now, but he sat miserably facing his crush's boyfriend, who was clearly oblivious to Stephen's pain. Oh, I imagine we'll be here till the big Maeve concert. Then we'll be getting right out of town, Sean said, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Just until the concert. That was a week from now. If Rhiannon wasn't going to be staying in Saccharin Valley very long, why did she even bother starting guitar lessons with Stephen? He was so confused. Before he could comment, Rhiannon opened the door to the bedroom. Stephen looked over and his jaw dropped. Rhiannon was wearing a long vintage-style evening gown that was made out of green velvet. Diamonds sparkled in her ears, and her hair was piled up on her head with several tendrils hanging down. Around her neck she was still wearing the Celtic knot pendant, but she removed it as soon as he saw her, her eyes locked on his. And then her face seemed to blur and change. Her features shifted slightly, and her black hair lightened until it was ruby red. Her blue eyes were now the color of emeralds. Stephen blinked, and blinked again as his stomach plummeted. A memory had surfaced in the deep pool of his mind, and now he knew who she was. His substitute teacher wasn't Rhiannon. It was Piper Quinton, the witch who tried to kill him and his sisters. She'd been wearing a magical disguise. Her eyes glittered when she saw the recognition on his face, though it was slack with shock, and a smile spread across her face. It wasn't a nice smile. It was more like the smile of a crocodile before indulging in its dinner. "Piper," he croaked. Her trilling laugh sounded just like Rhiannon's. "You remembered!" she cried in fake delight. In a blur of motion, she was on the couch again, sitting next to Mr. Mavourneen, crossing one leg over the other provocatively. Stephen turned to look at Mr. Mavourneen, but the man next to Piper had removed the chunky signet ring from his finger, and his appearance had changed too. He was now a few years younger, with blue eyes and brown hair. It was Piper's boyfriend, the warlock, who had just stood by while his demon witch girlfriend tried to kill him and his sisters, which hadn't worked, as they were the main characters. Piper put her arm around her boyfriend. Stephen could see that her nails were like claws now, long and sharp and glistening black. "No!" He broke out of his trance and stood up. It seemed to take a tremendous effort. He ran to the door, and Piper and Toby made no move to stop him. He didn't stop to think why until he got to the wall where the door should have been. The door had vanished. It was just a blank wall. He turned back to them, saw their carnivorous smiles, and gulped. "Let me out!" he cried, his voice cracking. "I've got a better idea," Toby said, picking up the guitar Stephen had left on the floor, leaning against the chair he'd just vacated. His voice was no longer lilting in an Irish accent. It was cold and hard, working-class British. In a flash, the warlock was right next to him, thrusting his face at Stephen's. His eyes were blue like Rhiannon's had been, but they were a cold, nasty blue, not like the warm, bright blue of the substitute teacher he'd fallen for. "I'm an idiot," he moaned silently to himself. "How could have I fallen for an evil witch? Again?" Toby smiled, and there was something odd about his teeth. He offered the guitar to Stephen. "How about you play us a song?"